A reading from the Gospel of Matthew. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only one who does the will of my Father in heaven. On that day, many will say to me, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name and cast out demons in your name and do many deeds of power in your name? Then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Go away from me, you evildoers. Everyone then who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on rock. The rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall, because it had been founded on rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them will be like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell, and great was its fall. Now when Jesus had finished saying these things, the crowd were astounded at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority, and not as their scribes. Amen. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter, but only one who does the will of my Father in heaven. This stirs up a lot of sayings to me. It's okay if you talk the talk, but can you walk the walk, for example? And actions speak louder than words. Jesus seems to be pointing to something of an inconsistency when we find ourselves saying one thing and doing another. There are many scholars in business practices and liturgical practices that talk about relationships between beliefs and practices. And our practices should somehow reflect what our beliefs are. Our behaviors should reflect what our core values are. Sometimes we say that we value truth and honesty, and yet sometimes we're pressed and we respond differently. Our actions reveal another preference or another priority. The same with loyalty. Our beliefs and our practices should align, and Jesus is calling us out when that doesn't happen. Then we're not true disciples. It gives us something to work on. Having our walk match our talk, our beliefs and our practices. I know churches we're notorious for coming up with lots and lots and lots of words. We have to have doctrinal statements. We have to have belief statements. We have to have mission statements, vision statements. And I love words. I love all of that. But does it reflect our core values? Do our beliefs and practices align? Do our liturgies reflect who we say we are? And if not, how do we get them in sync? Because people may listen to what you say, but they also watch what you do and watch what you say. So Jesus is inviting us to be careful just using words, performing and not really practicing what we believe. And it's easy to get caught up in that. Performance is powerful. Performance can garner attention for those who are watching us. But they're also watching our lives. They're also watching what we do. So it's wonderful when we can have that. We're at the end of the Sermon on the Mount, and Jesus wants us, his followers, to really listen to his words and act on them. He ends with an example of a wise person who listens to the words of Jesus, and he compares that to someone building a house on solid rock. And the foolish one does not listen, and therefore builds a house on sand. So we, of course, want to have a good foundation, and we want our words to match our actions. The book of James says that faith without works is dead. So hopefully our words and our works are aligned together and reveal what our core values are. And prayerfully, our values align with the values that Jesus has taught us. Let us talk the talk, but most importantly, let us walk the walk. Amen.